Miss South Africa Ndavi Nokeri has launched an educational audiovisual podcast. This is part of her Ed Unite campaign. On her weekly podcast series that airs on YouTube every Tuesday, Nokeri engages with various industry experts about topical issues in the lives of varsity students, pupils and educators. It's one of the promises she made when she took over the reins of Miss South Africa to impact lives by closing gaps in our education system. We are now joined by Miss South Africa Ndavi Nokeri herself, and she joins us virtually. Hi, Miss South Africa. Thank you very much for joining us here on Newsnight. I think the issue of access to education has been a long ongoing one in our country. So it's very interesting to see someone tackle these issues in a way that students can relate and access easily on social media platforms. Just tell us about your campaign and your podcast series.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abigail, for having me here tonight. I'm so excited to speak on education. As you're saying, specifically in South Africa, the inequality in education is such a big problem. And for me, coming from a background where I could physically see the differences, I come from a village, but I was privileged enough to go to the more schools that are more urban. So it really made me see the difference in our careers and the futures that we had. So for me, with EdUnite, the entire goal is to stand in that gap. And a big part of it is really access to information. So knowing that I can't physically go to every single corner of the school and spread the necessary information, whether it be about tertiary schools, whether it be about funding, I know that through an online platform such as a YouTube platform, I'm able to then convey that message throughout the entire country to everyone who needs it.
Definitely. Talk to us about some of the guests that you will be chatting to and some of the guests that you've already spoken to and some of the topics that will be covered.
Yeah, for me, a big thing that I've come to realize is that every single year we have students protesting about the very same thing, and that is funding. Whether it is because of the delay or whether because they don't have access to it, it really is such a huge struggle. So we have sat down with the executive chairperson of the NYDA, and we spoke around why there's a problem with us commodifying education and the need to really take off that price from it, because it really is a basic human right. So we cannot put a price on a basic human right. So we spoke on funding and how learners can find these opportunities for funding. We have also had a topic on episode 2 where we spoke about career guidance. And in that chat, we were really helping learners, guiding them on their journeys on how to make those career decisions that they need to make so that there is no longer anxiety about where they're going, but also how to make themselves, more employable, because you really do need to have the right competencies. So we looked at things such as volunteering. A lot of people can start to actually look into volunteering to make themselves more employable. Thing that it's a natural thing that most women go through every month. So it's very important that learners from a very young age are empowered to know that this is very natural, and that there's nothing to be ashamed about, and that they should not be missing out on quality education simply because of their period. So a very exciting topic still coming up. So you guys should tune in.
We'll definitely be tuning in, Ndavi. But on the topic of period poverty, I think this is such a vital one because, as you mentioned, so many young girls miss out on their schooling and their classes because of something that happens to them every month. As Miss South Africa, how would you see or like to see that conversation unfold, and what sort of implementation would you like to see in this regard?
Yeah, that is such an important question that you're asking. When I sat down with Candice Chera, she's actually had a TED talk on the whole menstrual topic, because even the fact that we say feminine hygiene, we're implying that it is a problem. We're implying that it is something that is dirty. So that goes back to that languaging that we speak of, that it is actually, it's a menstrual cycle. It's something normal, something biological. And it is very important that instead of only seeing free condoms in school bathrooms, we also start to see free pads, because that is actually something that is more productive, I can say. It's about also what what are we prioritizing? If we're saying have free condoms, what are we actually pushing? We're pushing the narrative of youth should be having sex, but having it safely, instead of talking about how girls are going to be going through their period. So therefore, they should be provided with the things that they need to prioritize their own education. So I think it's very important that we have this conversation of free pads at schools, because we cannot change the fact that girls will be going through their menstrual period every single month.
100%. Just earlier, Ndavi, you touched on protest action and funding issues. Just a few days ago, we saw protest action in the Western Cape at 2 universities there. So this has been an ongoing issue in our country. Will you be engaging with student leaders to try and get the students' side of the issues and find out how you can assist?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we first launched EduNite, we had the SRC of WITS as well as the SRC of the University of Pretoria, because it's very important that we bring the students or the people that are on the ground and actually facing the situation to give them a platform to speak about this. Because I think that we miss each other when we are out on the street. The problem is the students aren't heard because they are on the streets. But when we can sit down with them and actually hear their cries as society, we can actually begin to understand where the frustration comes from, because we need to understand that students don't go out on the streets as the first, it's not their first step. At that point, they have literally used every single other step in the process to find a solution, but with no one to hear them out. So I think it's very important that we do sit with the students and we do speak to them, because they are facing this every single day. And I can fully understand their frustration, and that we should be hearing them out before it gets to the point where they feel like the only way that they can be heard is by taking it out to the streets.
Definitely. Just shifting gears briefly, Ndavi, you represented us so beautifully at the Miss Universe pageant, and I want to say thank you and congratulate you on all of your achievements. But besides that, how has the reign been? What else are you up to? What else can we expect from you?
Thank you so much. It was such a beautiful journey, actually, being able to represent South Africa at Miss Universe. It's been such a wonderful reign. When I stepped into the platform, I honestly didn't initially believe that it would be possible for a girl like me coming from a village to actually be seen as worthy of such a platform. But I think it really has opened my eyes to show that, if you can set your mind to anything, then anything is possible. And I believe that that message is something that is echoing for all the other girls that are listening, for all the other girls who are wanting to chase a dream that seems too big for them. So I hope that through my journey, that message has echoed to them and has inspired them to not be afraid to dream big and to have the faith to actually step into their purpose. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And I'm currently working on my EduNite campaign fully, still going out to schools this week. We actually were visiting schools in Gauteng, the Northwest, and in Limpopo. So it was absolutely beautiful to be on the ground with the young girls, speaking to them and inspiring them, because I think sometimes we really do underestimate the power of representation. When the girls and the boys feel seen and they feel heard, they're truly inspired to actually, step up and have courage to work forward.
Definitely. It's been such a beautiful journey to watch. Ndavi, I'm going to push my luck here and try and get some breaking news. Will you be representing us at Miss World?
You are definitely pushing your luck there. But we have actually, the Miss South Africa organization has currently given up the Miss World license to the new owner. So that is some breaking news that you will be seeing as well.
Amazing. Ndavi, thank you very much for joining us, sharing your insights with not just us, but obviously students as well. Continue doing the amazing work and representing us so beautifully. We appreciate your time and insights.